It was March the 17th, 1917, and we were in the middle of the World War the First. England was involved on various fronts. The year before, 1916, in the week immediately following Easter, Dublin, Ireland, which was at that time dominated by the British, by the English, was shocked by the insurrection, which the British repressed in a terrible way due to the violence, the cruelty they practiced on the population, even on civilians. The mythical Bloody Sunday that even the U2, the Irish band, referred to, Sunday, Bloody Sunday. But that was not enough to tame the rebellious Ireland and the rebellious Irish people. Yet that was the beginning of a real war of independence that led to the birth of the Republic of Ireland. Okay. Ezra Pound at that time was already in Europe. He had left the United States in 1908, and he observed the slaughter, the massacre that World War First was causing. And maybe this was one of the reasons why Pound turned to the question about what the West civilization, what the Western world was and where it was aiming at. What is this kind of West? On the one hand, there's the word from which Ezra Pound himself comes, that is the United States of America. Then we find the protagonists of World War the First, the winners, England, France, and the defeated ones, the Central Powers, Prussia, the Austrian Empire, which will really become the symbol of the decline, of the decadence. If there's a place that I would identify with decadence, it would be Wien, Austria, this huge empire which was shattered all of a sudden. And then there's that big question mark represented by Russia, which would have been among the winners, but it became the scene of a great civil war. And even the civil war interested Ezra Pound. He followed this Russian revolution from afar, but with great interest, especially because from that episode in Russian history, the two leading figures of Lenin and Stalin emerged. That is, the creator of Bolshevism and the destroyer of Bolshevism, Lenin, Nikolai Lenin, and Joseph Stalin. And here is where Pound's reflections on economy start. I may say on a broader sense, his reflections on the idea of a state, of a community, the way human beings live together. And Pound starts reflecting about the American Revolution, which broke out with the purpose of freeing, of gaining freedom from England. The 13 colonies, the 13 American colonies wanted to get independence from England. But that revolution disappointed Ezra Pound because it ended up reproducing the British system in politics and especially in economics. Because even the new free independent states of America created the equivalent of the Bank of England, that unitary bank that was the Bank of England. They created the Bank of the United States. Ezra Pound was against this idea of a central bank, which would then affect a community, a state. He supported the figures like Thomas Jefferson, who tried to stop this insane idea, according to Ezra Pound. So it does not come as a surprise if we think of Ezra Pound. He had just arrived in Italy. He had just come into contact with fascism, and he discovered the figure of Benito Mussolini. He thought that Mussolini could be some kind of Thomas Jefferson for the Italians, for Italians. And that's why he wrote an essay, Mussolini and or Thomas Jefferson. Italian fascism seemed to Ezra Pound a vehicle, an instrument for his economic ideas, for Pound's economic ideas. And in fact, Ezra Pound used the fascist radio. There are some recordings on YouTube. Europe calling Ezra Pound speaking. He made, you can Google that. He made broadcasts in support of Mussolini and Mussolini's government on fascist radio in the 1940s. So when fascism was destroyed in 1945, at the conclusion of the war, Pound was arrested for treason by the United States Army. He had betrayed the United States. So he was imprisoned in Pisa, and he wrote the Pisan cantos. And then actually, there's something terrible about this period of time he spent in Pisa, because the way he was treated was really terrible. Once he was brought to the United States, he was once again imprisoned, but he was declared insane, and he was hospitalized in Washington, D.C. While in hospital, he completed the Pisan cantos, which is one of the sections that make up the cantos, and it was selected, the Pisan cantos were selected as the winner of the famous prize, the Bolligen Prize, which was an American prize given to successful writers. So what happened? Pound, who had been a traitor to the nation, was awarded a prize for the best American poetry, and that caused an enormous controversy. He was a poet who was a fascist sympathizer and an anti-Semite. Was it right to honor him? That is a huge question. But let's move back to Pound's ideas of economics. He wrote Usura, he said in Italian, is the cancer of the world, which only the surgeon's knife of fascism can cut out of the life of the nations. He wrote that in his essay, What is Money For? 1939. So Capitalism had caused a transformation in the understanding of the exchange value of money, and I would say of labor. In ancient barter society, when people just exchanged things, goods were exchanged in a way that related an item to another, considering the use value of a thing. The objects which were exchanged depended on the use value of the objects themselves, how useful they were, and depended on the real labor, the material labor which had been expended to produce that object. When in capitalism, labor was absorbed by money. Money absorbed labor. The more labor it takes to produce a product, the greater the value becomes in terms of money. So money absorbs labor. In a capitalist society, people believe that inside money you find power and value, and no longer inside the labor that you need to spend to produce something, a commodity. Even Karl Marx used the expression commodity fetishism. Before capitalism, this is what Marx said, the process was CMC, commodity, money, commodity. So money was a means to get an end, which was a commodity. Now you buy a commodity to sell that commodity at a higher price. So commodity, which used to be the end, now turns to the means, and money, which used to be the means, now is the end. This is what Hegel defined as heterogenesis of the ends. A means becomes an end, and an end, a former end, becomes a means. So the process is now MCM, money, commodity, money. Starting from money, you buy a commodity, you resell that commodity in order to get more money. This is the general formula for capital. The product is sold on the market at a profit that is controlled by the capitalists. So now the process is MM, or MMM, money, money, money. That is finance. Finance that has taken over real economy. The aim is just profit making without any defined purpose. This is what Ezra Pound called usura, the act of loaning money in return for the same money with interest, that is, getting money using money. And this process occurs on the stock market. Money making, more money is at the basis of capitalism, and Pound was an anti-capitalist. His economic ideas can be found in Canto 45 with Usura. With Usura has no man a house of good stone. With Usura, sin against nature is thy bread dry as paper, and no man can find site for his dwelling. see that capitalism also corrupted art. Ezra Pound was disgusted with popular literature of his time. He believed that contemporary literature degraded the classics, and even art had become commercialized. He wrote, "We see to kalon decreed in the marketplace.